important because they're biologically diverse and they're home to many different kinds of fish.
I think coral reefs are important because they're a pretty big tourist attraction in some Central American countries and brings a lot of people over there.
Coral reefs are important to support marine life in the oceans as well as fish, dolphins, and sharks.
Primarily the reason why I think corals are important is just because they house a whole entire ecosystem.
Hi, my name is Spencer Nyholm and I'm an assistant professor in molecular and cell biology here at the University of Connecticut. And let me begin by saying that I'm not an expert in coral reef symbioses. I do cover it in one of my courses.
Hi, my name is Lauren Stefaniak. I am a PhD candidate at the University of Connecticut in the Marine Sciences Department.
So corals are actually usually made up of, they're actually animals, and so they're cnidarians, they're from the phylum Cnidaria, and they form these spectacular ecosystems that you see in many tropical areas of the world.
Coral reefs are very important for a number of reasons. They tend to be good structure for juvenile fish and coral fish species that are harvested for human consumption. Also a number of invertebrates, crabs, lobsters. So they're very important to humans in terms of being a food source. They also are refuges for marine mammals, marine reptiles, such as sea snakes and sea turtles. There are a number of threats to coral reefs. The fishing practices, some parts of the world, in order to catch fish on the reef, they basically throw dynamite into the water and blow it up to shock the fish so that they float to the surface to make them easier to catch. Ships striking coral reefs when they're trying to come into harbor, the channels between them, storm damage, sedimentation from terrestrial runoff can damage corals by burying them and smothering them. And one of the biggest threats that has been recognized recently is coral bleaching, which can damage and even kill the coral.
So coral bleaching is when the corals actually expel their symbionts. So you get examples when the corals have their symbionts, they appear this sort of brownish or greenish color. But when they expel their symbionts due to coral bleaching, and this can be caused by different types of stresses in the environment, the corals turn perfectly white. And so this is what you're normally used to seeing when you find a piece of coral lying on the beach, a piece of coral rubble. So this is a bleached piece of coral that has now lost the symbionts. And without their symbionts, the corals have a hard time surviving because, remember, the symbionts are oftentimes providing them with much nutrition that the corals need require to grow.
There is a chance for regeneration. The process of losing their algae does not necessarily kill the coral. It can stay alive for quite a while. The stressor that most commonly causes corals to bleach is high water temperatures. So in the summer they'll bleach, lose their algae. If they can manage to survive till the fall, they'll regain their algae from the water column again and they can continue to survive. It's hard for ordinary people to think, what can they do about that? One thing you can do is encourage reduced use of fossil fuels, so encouraging either government officials to put forward laws that will reduce the release of carbon into the atmosphere, or even just reducing your own energy use in your house. Also, for things like dynamiting for fishing practices, you can choose to not eat fish that have been collected in that way. Well, both times that I went to Australia, it was the summer in Australia, and as a result, there was bleaching on the reefs at the time that I was there. It often seemed like the branching corals tended to be bleached, while the massive corals were not bleached, And usually the soft corals, the non-reef building corals, also tended to not be bleached. A good experience to go snorkeling on the reef because the reefs are right up near the surface of the water and you can see hard corals, fish, sponges, even occasionally